Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Science of Spirit. Today, I have something that's a little bit of a deviation from what I normally do. I don't generally post things that are really of a negative nature because I don't think it's beneficial to really focus on it. But I felt the need to do this for whatever reason. Maybe it's just to expose it so that people know that it exists, even though it seems to be getting cleaned up. And there seem to be quite a few people talking about this and have been for over the years. And I've heard about it, but I never bothered to really channel it and find out. But there's so much misinformation out there that I wanted to check on it and see if this is really, true, or is it somebody's, idea of a cruel joke? You never know. I've been hearing a lot about this whole tunnel system that's underground, with these deep underground military bases, which I don't doubt that probably exists. And that this system is kilometers down under the ground. And apparently all over the place, and that it's used for trafficking of people and goods and so forth. And some pretty nefarious stuff. And maybe some of you have heard about this and, believe it or don't believe it, I don't know. And so that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's like, okay, is this a real thing? Is it, somebody's fantasy? Are we being led astray? Or is this really something that's been happening? So I did a channeling session on this, and apparently it's real. And it sounds like it was a pretty extensive network that's underground and been running there for who knows how long. So I will read to you now what my higher self had to say about this. So what I asked was, are there large underground areas with children that are being kept for trafficking and other purposes? And is there some kind of a system, interconnected underneath there? I mean, like big areas. So this is what I got. Trains running underneath the main land masses are real. They were created by a faction of the military that needed high-speed transport. They run on a hyperrail tech, which is a floating type of system that enables the trains to have very little resistance. There are large underground bases used for main operations, including keeping people hidden and trafficking. Entities under these areas are the gatekeepers of this underworld. It is inhabited by those entities keeping the world in a cage. These are main areas of transport of people and goods. The faction alliance that is now taking control has been ridding these areas for many years. The larger areas have been mostly overtaken and put into good use. Okay. The Luciferian agenda has mostly been tampered with to the point of no return. It is a system of enslavement done to the Earth's inhabitants for a long time. These entities cannot withstand a higher energetic resonance, so they will be falling away like magic. Children were being kept like caged animals and used for various reasons for money-making schemes. Some areas have been kept mostly intact, others were destroyed. The rail system, the same. The underground rail can be used for the public at some point. Right now, areas have been destroyed, so a disruption of tunnels has occurred. Need to rebuild areas. The rail system is intercontinental. So I guess I shouldn't be surprised that something like this has been going on, literally under our feet for who knows how long. Because it sounds like it's a huge, extensive system. I had asked in another channeling session just about transportation, so I thought that I would add this on here. I had asked, is there another means of transportation already in place that we could use for our benefit? And I got, yes, there has been a form of transport that combines the use of projecting oneself to another locale by way of a time-condensing device. These areas are found in many places that have been in limited use by those unseen to the public view. Those systems can be converted for use by the people once they announce that their existence has been and can be used to move people quickly across vast areas. Also, earth portals can be used for transport, to pull up one vibration locale and resonate with another. Various areas on the planet do this in such a way as to project people and things from one area to another. Although it is done by resonance, it is also a manipulation of time frames. It is also possible to move interdimensionally, but those going to a higher vibration have to be able to hold that vibration. Hence, 4D can't go to 5D, but 5D can go down by lowering their vibration if necessary. Once humans are fully in 5D, others with a slower vibe can't go there. So if you're not familiar with this underground military base situation, which they refer to as DUMBS, deep underground military bases, go ahead and look on YouTube because there's several people who have talked about this. I think Charlie Ward has had some people on there referring to it. And just, over the years, it's out there. But it's interesting to know that it is a real thing. I mean, it's kind of sad that this has been going on for who knows how long, that there's actually been an underworld. And most of us never even knew it existed. I mean, you would think there would be evidence all over the place of this, but I guess if it's carefully concealed and you just think it's a military installation, you probably don't question it. I don't know. And these people who have been talking about this have basically said that a lot of these places have been destroyed and cleaned out. And then if you look on the USGS site, that shows you where earthquakes are, where they've occurred and how far down they occur, that's proof of where they've destroyed them, and it's caused some of these smaller earthquakes all over the world. So that I actually looked at myself, and it's kind of interesting because this one fellow was saying that there are several layers of these underground system, and one of them is, I want to say it's either 10 miles or 10 kilometers. That's a long way down. But if you look around the world at some of these earthquakes, you will notice that they occur at exactly that. Once again, I'm just going to say it's 10 kilometers. I think it's 10 kilometers. And, I can see where you'd have one once in a while that is that, but you can follow them and see where there's several, almost leading around different areas that are at exactly that level. Well, naturally occurring earthquakes are going to be all over the place. They're not just going to be that. So there's a lot of them at that depth, which I thought was kind of interesting. And unless somebody knows something more than I do about how earthquakes occur, it's there for you to take a look at. Yeah, so check out the USGS site and look for exactly 10-kilometer down earthquakes. Now, I do find it interesting that my higher self was saying that some of it was destroyed, but not necessarily all of it. So I'm not sure what the reasoning of that would be. I mean, maybe the train, that might be helpful, but I don't know about some of these other underground areas. If they were doing some really nefarious things, you'd think you'd want to, get rid of some of that stuff. Because they're talking about really deep, dark, cultish stuff, not just trafficking drugs and just kind of mildly trafficking people. We're talking about doing some really, really nasty things to humans. And this has been done by, some off-world entities that have been here for kind of ever. I mean, they've been here forever. So there's no point in getting all riled up about it or anything. It's been here. But apparently getting cleaned out. So I wanted to share that in case you weren't aware of this, that now you can kind of check into it and see what you think. I'm also glad I did channel it and find out that, yeah, it's a thing, unfortunately, but it is. And I will say that this cult uses dark energies and entities to do their bidding and to control people in a way. I mean, they feel that that's the way to have control, is through having these demons, or whatever you want to call them, do their bidding. But that's not really true power, because they're using something else that's, of a negative energetic field to do stuff. And so it's never really going to have a good outcome. It can't. It can't, even energetically. So they may think it does, but not really. So it's like we've had these two worlds existing at once. But now things are switching over to a more positive nature, because humans are just kind of getting done with it, and we need to move on. So one last thing, in an earlier post, I know I had channeled information that my higher self said that President Trump was going to be in office for 4 more years. And I'm still standing by that. I don't know how that's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. But that is what I had asked. I had asked, is he going to be in office for 4 more years? So we will see. I didn't want you all to think that I'm just going to gloss over that and forget about it, because no, I'm doubling down on it. And it's my higher self's information, not mine. I mean, honestly, if I was just consciously giving my own information, that was just me coming up with ideas, I would be completely confused. I really would. I would have thought, maybe he'll get in. And then when he didn't, I'd be like, guess I was wrong about that. You know what I mean? But that's not the way this works with the channeling. It really doesn't. So anyway, we will see what happens here in the next few months. I'm just kind of waiting to see, what happens here, just like everybody else. Now, as to all this negative stuff with, underground facilities and so forth, I don't think it's helpful to anybody to keep focusing on it. If it gets brought to light to the general public, then fine. But I still don't recommend really focusing on that. We really, really need to move on. We've got to move into a better place for everybody. But that's a part of it. If that's getting cleaned up, then that's brilliant. So I guess you can rejoice in some ways. Thank you all for listening to The Science of Spirit. You can listen to my podcasts on YouTube, Breaker, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Pocket Casts, Radio Public, and Spotify. Thank you.